Oink, oink, oink. It's Pig Nuts, week 6, coming to you live from the pig pen. It is Piggy himself. And I rolled in a lot of mud yesterday. We had a nooner. We had a noon game, so I was out tailgating. We have a tailgate spot this year, so I was out tailgating at like 7 a.m. Long day of drinking in the sun. Not great for the pig man himself. Feel pretty horrific. And you're getting pretty late pig nuts, but you know what you get? You get what you get, and you don't get upset. We'll start off with college football roundup. FSU, Syracuse didn't even look that good, truthfully, and they won 41-3. They look incredible as a team. Gators, what a game out of the Gators. South Carolina Gators, always in a fun, amazing game. Gators were down, came back. Fuck Spencer Rattler. Fuck South Carolina. Gators up 41-39. Graham Merritt's looks like actually a guy, maybe. Canes, 2 losses in a row for the U. UNC, UM, also a pretty fun rivalry game. Looks like they got dominated though. Drake may be the truth. 41-31, Canes loss. Caleb Williams looks like a fraud. USC, Notre Dame, supposed to be a big game. Marcus Freeman, probably on hot seat if he loses last night. Instead, they dominate. And then whatever his name, who's the Notre Dame quarterback, who used to be the Wake Forest quarterback, he looked good. Caleb Williams did not look good. A lot of interceptions. Did not look like the first pick in the draft. Maybe he's throwing it on purpose because he doesn't want to play for. I think it was like I forgot who it was. The Cardinals. I think he doesn't want to play for. Anyways, he fell off last night. Speaking of frauds and losers, Dion on Friday night. I went to bed because I was watching Colorado. They were up 29-0, and I was like, I'm shutting this off. What's the point? Turns out they lost in double overtime, 46-43 to Stanford. Horrific, embarrassing loss for Dion. Of course, Dion didn't blame himself. He blamed the players that are not going to be on his team next year because he doesn't like them anyway. He's going to bring in new guys, and those guys will be better than these guys because these guys are bums. Not my fault. I'm Dion. Good for Dion. Bad for Colorado. Not even really good for Dion. Next up, we got Who's Back? Who's dead and who's not back but not dead. Tell you the truth, it may be because I'm ridiculously hungover, but it also I think is a really bad news week. I scoured the internet for hours. That's why you're getting old late pig nuts. But there's really nothing out there. I'm trying my best. I know these stories are not the greatest. Don't blame me. Blame world news. Blame the world. Who's back? Let's start off with Israel Hamas. The Israel Hamas war wages on. Of course, horrible, terrible things. Standing with Israel, hoping everything works out, but not great. Hamas is telling the Palestinians to stay where Israel is basically giving a heads up that they're going to bomb these areas, giving people a heads up to leave the areas. Hamas wants them to stay in the areas because then Israel will bomb and then they'll show that they're killing innocent people, which Israel, of course, is trying not to do, but Hamas wants to use them as human shields. Despicable, horrible, shitty things from Hamas, of course, because they're a terrorist scumbag organization. Also, really shitty to see how many universities like Harvard, they have like a bunch of very pro Hamas stuff going on in all the universities from white kids. Shame on you. Of course, Israel up. We got this. But at what cost? Don't love it. Cali. Next up, we got Cali. Enough of that. Cali doing Cali lib things. Of course, California has been on one lately. They got reparations and they're trying to do this and they're trying to do that. Now we got Ebony Alert. We got Ebony Alerts. Gavin Newsom signed Senate Bill 673. We've already had Amber Alerts for kids. We got Silver Alerts for old people. And now we have Ebony Alerts for black people, ages 12 to 25 that go missing. I, for one, thought that this was a little ridiculous, but doing more reading and trying to educate myself the best I could, turns out that black people make up only 13% of the population, but nearly 40% of missing persons cases. So that's where that's coming from. Maybe they have a point. I don't know. But continuing on with California laws that were signed in this week, they're trying to take away your Skittles, candy corn, and Pez. Skittles, candy corn, and Pez are now outlawed in California. Huge bummer for the Skittles fans because they become the first U.S. state to outlaw 4 food additives: brominated vegetable oil, potassium bromide, and propylene paraben and red dye 3. I guess that's what's in all of those candies that you love and adore and want to eat. Unfortunately, you can't. They're saying that companies will have to tweak their recipes. I think they should mind their fucking business, but that's just me personally. We also got a game on right now. We got a game in England, the Ravens and the Titans. Of course, there's fantasy ramifications for that. Right now, the Ravens are up. Justin Tucker's kicked 100 field goals. Lamar has a touchdown to Flowers. Derrick Henry had a big run and a touchdown. Not the best game in the world, but it is what it is. Next up, we got my boy George Santos, the man that cannot die. New York Republican Congressman George Santos faces 10 new felony charges. U.S. Attorney in Eastern District of New York added 10 counts of conspiracy, wire fraud, false statements, identity theft. He's already facing 13 counts, and now he's accused of using political donors' credit card numbers and trying to steal their identities. He's admitted already to lying to the public about much of his background, his education, having a family member escape the Holocaust, and where he worked previously. He is officially the untalented Mr. Ripley. He remains a member of in full standing in the Republican caucus because of course he does. He announced he's running for re-election next year. This man just keeps eating charges and just doesn't stop lying no matter what. Hilarious, ridiculous story there. Next up, we got Netflix. After killing Blockbuster, they plan to open up brick and mortar locations in 2025. Does that mean Blockbuster's coming back? Does that mean we're going to be able to get the red Netflix CD that we used to get in the mail? Not so fast. No one really knows what it is, but it's going to be called Netflix House. And they're going to have some things for you to buy. You're going to have food experiences. You're going to have food to dine in at. And then you're also going to have other experiences. Basically, you're going to be able to play Squid Games, buy some Squid Game shirts, and then eat Squid Game like themed food. Also, Stranger Things, you get to go like play around in the Upside Down, get some Stranger Thing hats and whatever. It sounds like kind of theme parky. Could be decent, maybe. I don't hate it, I guess. Who's dead? We only got one person dead this week, and that's Will Smith. Actually starting to feel bad for him. I know he's a weirdo, but he's also super talented. The guy's hilarious. He can rap. He can sing. He's given us a lot of good times in the world. He's and unfortunately, Jada Pinkett Smith just keeps stomping on his grave and cucking him for the whole world to see. Jada Pinkett Smith, horrible person. Jada Pinkett Smith, what a bad woman to be married to. Jada Pinkett Smith, what a bad existence. She has a book coming out, so she's been on this media tour. And since Tupac, they kind of arrested someone for killing Tupac. She's been saying that's my soulmate, and he proposed to me in jail. There's no one to back any of these stories because Tupac's dead, of course. He proposed to me, and he had alopecia. I'm sure Tupac's family doesn't love any of this stuff. Poor Will sitting there. She came out and said, of course, that Tupac's my soulmate and Will's just some guy. She used to sell drugs. How her and Will have been separated for 6 years now, and they've just been going to red carpets together since 2016. She came out and said that the biggest thing that upset her at the Chris Rock slap was that he said, "Keep my wife's name out of your mouth," and she says, "I don't know why he said his wife because we were separated." Pretty just horrible stuff. Like, leave Will Smith alone. We as a society need to back Will Smith. I know that it was funny for a while. It's not funny anymore. The man deserves better than this. Uh, Fuck Jada Pinkett Smith. Will Smith dead, but hopefully eventually up. What's not back but not dead? We got zombie viruses. Zombie viruses. This is how far I had to dig for news for you guys. Zombie viruses waking up after 50,000 years as planet warms up. Basically, global warming, they're saying the Arctic could be ice free by the 2030s, which is pretty soon. Within like 10, 15 years, ice free. That's crazy to think the Arctic is going to have no ice. Of course, there's tons of ramifications to that. One of them was being shown there's a heat wave in Serbia, which activated dormant anthrax spores, leading to dozens of infections, and it killed a kid. So what these scientists are saying is there's tons of horrible diseases that have been locked in ice for like 50,000 years, and they thought they would never come up because we would have tons of ice. Unfortunately, we keep spraying the ozone layer, and all the ice is melting, and it turns out we're gonna have a bunch of zombie viruses come up and kill us. Sounds pretty horrible, but pretty fair, I guess. Not great. Not back, but not dead. Us as humanity. Lastly, we got Drake and Joe Budden. As someone who does not listen to music at all and really only listens to Drake when he puts out a new CD, it was a bummer, to say the least, that For All the Dogs was not that great. Truthfully, pretty bad. It had a few good songs, mostly bad songs. 26 songs and maybe 4 or 5 of them were good. Huge bummer for me. Back to sports talk radio and the sound of the wind blowing. Joe Budden came out. Joe Budden came out. Former rapper Joe Budden, now a guy who just talks on the internet, came out and says he needs to act his age instead of having some of the people on the CD. I have no idea. I don't know if I'm old and washed or not, but it was Yeet and Tizo Touchdown. act your age and start, you're like 37. Stop hanging out with these 18-year-old TikTokers. Drake didn't like that. Drake didn't like that people were not being nice about his CD, and especially didn't like Joe Budden being mean about it. He came out and responded that basically Joe Budden was a has been and it never was. Specifically, he said, "You switch careers because the things that you're that pop into your brain had you broke living check to check, and the raps you write had 450 men showing up to your shows in dusty N-Ice jeans. Nothing wrong with N-Ice jeans, by the way. I had some pretty good N-Ice fits back in the day. To screw up their face to Mood Music 29 and pretend you're the GOAT." He continued, "You retired and we never hung up your jersey and we don't even remember your number." He finally finished by saying, "I own a 767. He owns a modest house in the 973 and flies first class on special occasions." It's a kill shot. He killed Joe Budden, but was Joe Budden that wrong in a lot of stuff? No, but Joe Budden, of course, is a bum. Of course, he killed him. Drake is still a king, and Joe Budden is a pauper. Doesn't mean that what Joe Budden was saying was not right. I don't know. I need good Drake back in my life. Show of the week. Show of the week. We got Life and Times of Tim. Life and Times of Tim and 10-year-old Tom. It's on HBO or Max or HBO Max or whatever, HBO Go or Go. Whatever it is, it's an HBO show. It's a cartoon for adults. Stephen Dilderin is who made it. I remember back in the day in college watching it and it being very funny. The reason I thought about it is because he came out. I turned on HBO or whatever Max a few days ago, and I saw that there was 10-year-old Tom, and I was like, I started watching it, and I was like, I feel like I watched this before. Deja vu. Turns out I did watch it before in his old show, Life and Times of Tim. Now he has 10-year-old Tom. Both of them very funny. Nick Kroll, John Malkovich. Those are people that are voicing some characters for Life and Times of Tim, which I say you should watch first, and then if you like it, watch 10-year-old Tom. The synopsis is hapless man in his mid 20s named Tim who lives in New York with his girlfriend Amy. Tim constantly finds himself in increasingly awkward situations in both work and personal life. It's funny. You should watch it. Give it a chance. Quick, easy, nothing like 15-minute episodes. You could have it on in the background. Bets. Oh no, let's matchups. Matchups. We got me versus Kaufman. I'm not going to go into too far into matchups. Me versus Kaufman. I'm projected 125. He's projected 104. Kelsey and Flowers have already done pretty well. Give me me. Isaac, what a battle last week. Very upset that I lost that. Isaac's team. What a strategy for him. Just come in, draft like four players, and then leave. Auto draft the rest. Unfortunately, Justin Jefferson's dead. That's a bummer. You got Eckler back though. That has Saquon, who's maybe gonna play, maybe gonna do something. I don't know. D Hop has nothing so far in this game. Mahomes played okay. Give me Isaac winning again. Next up, we got Natsky Gold. Natsky has Gus Edwards doing nothing. Jonathan Taylor should get a little more work this week, but I don't know. Jordan Addison on the bench. I don't know if I love that with Justin Jefferson out. I kind of like Jordan Addison. Not telling you what to do though. Gold has Derrick Henry, who had a big game so far. He's got 18. Lamar, I think, has 9. Mark Andrews has 9 or 10. It's on right now, so it's tough for me to live see that. Give me Gold. Weisberg Danny in the toilet bowl. We got Weisberg projected 109. What a fall from grace for that team. Danny not in last. Congrats. You got Jerry Judy, Mr. Duty, Jerry Judy with 3. He's a bum. Steve Smith killed him. You got to go watch that if you haven't seen that. Steve Smith dominated him, and he's true. He's actually a bum. Pacheco played good, 13. Josh Downs. Danny is clearly reading the articles this year. Josh Downs is that guy who's in the articles. You're starting Josh Downs. I like that. Bryce Hall on the bench for Weisberg. Madison over Bryce Hall. I don't know if I like that much. I'm still going to give Weisberg the win here. Give me Weisberg there. Maybe he makes a comeback starting now. Shemmer Saul. Shemmer's in 12th. PU to that. He had Kansas City score 14. On Thursday, Marvin Mims scored 0 for Saul on Thursday. I don't know why you're starting Marvin Mims, but whatever. No Aaron Jones for Shemmer. Shemmer's still projected to win by 13. I really didn't look at it much. Give me Shemmer. Give me Shemmer coming out of 12th there. Gins Avi last. Javante Williams had 7. He's a bum. Rasheed Rice had 9 for Ginsburg. Avi, I don't know who's on your team, but you're projected by women by 15. Give me Avi there. Avi's team's pretty good. Lastly, we've got bets of the week. Bets 49ers at Browns. Browns are starting PJ Walker. 49ers are very good, of course. They're dominating everybody. I don't care that they're at the Browns. Weird Deshaun Watson stuff. He was cleared 2 weeks ago, and now he's still not playing. I don't know what's going on there, but PJ Walker is not going to beat the 49ers. Give me 49ers by more than 10. That's easy, even though they're at the Browns. Saints -2 at the Texans. Saints, Derek Carr is supposed to be healthier. They got Kamara back. I know the Texans are good and CJ Stroud is good and the offense is good, but they're still rebuilding. Give me the Saints -2. And then Minshew revenge game. Colts +4 at Jags. Give me the Colts +4. Revenge game for Minshew. They're saying that Anthony Richardson, bummer that he may be out for the season with his shoulder. He's actually very good so far this season, impressive. Doesn't matter though. Minshew as a backup and Minshew starting the rest of the year. Don't hate that. Good for the Colts. Good for Minshew. Give them revenge against the Jags. Colts +4, and I kind of like a money line too. That's all I have. Not the best pig nuts, but pig nuts you get what you get. Have a day.